Alright, turns out I've got another gig's worth of space on this, so I can make the, how I felt about each player and if they improved or not right now video. Okay, so going in order of actual, technical final placement in this game, Amber. I argue that she was the same because we didn't get enough of a chance to, see her, and even then, she goes out there to help out Rob. She unfortunately said that, although it does seem like she enjoyed her time out there. And one thing that I feel kind of bad about is that I think that there was a few people, including me at first, going, huh, isn't she a little old to be going out there? Well, get this. She's the same age that Tina was the first time they played. Yeah, past me. Right. Danny, she wasn't out there long enough, but I feel like that she's still the same Danny, really. It's unfortunate that both times we've had someone come back from Guatemala, they've gone early, because as I said, that cast really did have something to show, and Danny herself said only way she's coming back is if it was all winners. So that's going to hurt her season, unfortunately, but I feel like that she's the same Danny. She can do stuff, and I think that she could adapt to the game, at least pre-Cambodia game. I think she could have fit in there. Shrug. Ethan, it's the same Ethan, because he played an old school game there, although I was glad that he had a much more positive experience this time around, both in terms of location and his relationship with everybody, because in all Stars, he was where Boston Rob and Pav were in this season, just unable to get anyone to work with him, problem after problem, and it's tough, but I think the two of them, along with various people from the old All-Star cast, actually are decent friends, although it took them a while, I think, to get to that point, which is why I think I'll say that All Stars, ironically, is the worst All Star season out there. But one good pro that it has is that everyone had seen each other play, although I don't think Rupert had been voted out when the season started, but they had to have been told that he didn't win. Right. Boston Rob, this is the same Rob that we've seen multiple times. This is the same style of gameplay that he's done from HVV onward, except obviously after HVV he didn't ignore the new twists to the game. You can argue that this was the same thing that he did in All Stars, but in All Stars, it was just you have the vote, and then you have whoever is voting with you. So, we've seen this happen before. It either works or it doesn't, and it didn't work for him. Pav, okay, so one could argue that she got worse, given how she didn't get deep in the game, but the thing is, she will argue that she got deep in the game because of, Edge, though I'm one who argues that she's either got 130 days or 133 days, which is when the first battle back happened, because all the rest of the Edge days, you're a jury member. That's really how it is in my mind, but I knew that she would be in the exact same position that she was in Heroes vs. Villains, and this time they actually did manage to vote her out, though I've heard a lot of people say that Jeremy and Michelle actually would have turned against Ben, Denise, and Adam, and started working with Rob and Pav if Sally had gone to Tribal again. I don't know how they know that exactly. I guess I'm gonna have to look into Jeremy because Natalie didn't mention. I mean, not Natalie, Michelle didn't mention that, but of course she wouldn't mention that because she was booted out at the end. We wish I could figure out how they figured that out, but I guess people are watching more stuff than I do. Sandra, okay, I am really conflicted on this because I wanted to say that she improved because I liked her more this time around because she did the same gameplay that she did in changes, except she wasn't going after the people that I was rooting for, like with game changers. So I was liking what she was doing more, but then she quits the game, and then she does say, take out Denise, albeit she goes, take out Denise for me. That's pretty much how she said it. So it's just her going, yeah, do it. And she said that she's at peace with her decision, and she knew that she wouldn't get back in the game, and I guess, and says that it's not worth spending 20 days on the edge just to cast a vote, but at the same time, it's like, isn't there a respect for the game? Because Yule's got that, Rob's got that, Pav has never said that, but she's got it. And Tony, after he won this season, says, you can't say that I'm the best player ever. You can't compare one season to another. This game doesn't work like that. I'm the greatest player in this season. That's it. Right. So, she's the same, but doing those things, even though I do understand it, it gets to me. It really does. And it's unfortunate, because she's the one person that wasn't there at the end. Yeah. So I'm actually not going to issue a decision on her. I'll let you guys decide. In your mind, obviously. Yule, same Yule. Wendell, technically he's worse, but only because real life stuff got in there, and I wouldn't be too surprised if everyone is mostly over it, because Michelle, she was definitely hurt by that, but she said that she was able to hold her head up high when the season ended. Michelle, I mean, so it wasn't too long-term damaging, and like it's again, I'm only arguing that he could be worse because of real life stuff. Well, former relationships, they're hard to figure out. The people that you have to ask are Wendell and Michelle, and I don't think it's appropriate to talk about it anymore. So in gameplay, he's fine. Personally, again, you have to ask them. Adam, well, it's kind of interesting how in many ways in this season that he did a David, except in reverse, where he was just a total klutz this time. Not to say that he didn't make relationships, he did, but that edit, I say, really did make him look bad. But, alright, so I'm going to argue that in gameplay he's fine. Personal wise, he sucks, but again, it's just a done edit. Tyson, well, he is a good player, especially without Coach, because Coach in many ways is what cost him it both times, though, of course, his dumb move in HVV is more dumb than JT's. I'll always defend that, but had they seen Russell play, JT would be dumber. And, you know, he just had a tough time coming in. Because as I said, I figured that they'd target him before Boston Rob, albeit I was sort of assuming they'd be on the same tribe, though it makes sense that they weren't. I do wish that he had gotten a more positive edit, but if you look at him in the Ponderosa, he's gone. That's life. I can move on from this. So, if I hadn't seen that, I probably would say he's worse, but having seen that, I'd say he's the same. Sophie, I'd say she's improved because I don't remember her edit too well from South Pacific, and she said that she felt like a bottom tier winner. No, you weren't a bottom tier winner. They just could have done a better job with you instead of it being all Upolu versus Savai, Ozzy's fight to stay alive, and Cochran being Cochran and Coach being Coach. There's a lot of merit to her, so this proves that she's better than some other people thought. Now, you'd be tempted to say that Kim did worse, but her last couple of episodes proved that she can do stuff. It's just a difference between being the person that everyone trusted, everyone asking about, the one controlling most decisions, to sinking way low in the deck. Kim's not bad. I didn't think she'd be able to stack up against this cast, and I was right, but that's more due to fate rather than, her. So, I don't think I can fault her. Jeremy, well, like with Adam, gameplay he's fine. Personality-wise, though, I argue that he actually took a dip. That's not to say that he's a different Jeremy. No, he's the same Jeremy outside of this game, doing things that were reasonably typical with him, but it was harder for him this time around, and he had to take a slightly more aggressive role in his alliance bit, because as I said multiple times, Cambodia and San Juan del Sur, it felt like he had an even relationship with those alliances. This, total scramble, had to be harder. Tough, but like with Tyson, he moved on. Nick, well, his performance is worse this time, but people knew what he was capable of, and I don't know if it's totally fair for me to say that he did worse. There's a good argument for it, but I feel like there's just as good argument that it's not. Because David vs. Goliath is one of those seasons we need to get a lot more insight to figure out into those group dynamics. Tocantins is another example, because the group dynamics between people in those seasons, I feel, were really unique. So Nick, I'm going to let you guys decide him. Denise, same Denise, obviously. Ben, controversial ruling that I'm going to give here. Gameplay, he's worse, because last time he was the person that everyone was afraid of winning, and this time he was the person that everyone was like, on. But I argue that personally, he was better, because I felt like, despite the issues he had with Rob, Adam, and Jeremy, I feel like he just burned less bridges this time around. And what he said to Sarah at the end, trying to give her a leg up, even though that wasn't the best idea, given the fact that the fire-making thing was there, because it would have been smarter for him to wait one more day with that and then have Tony and Sarah. Actually, wait, that would have worked because of the fire-making bit. Well, he could have just thrown the fire-making bit, because it's not that hard to fake fire-making, even though people know that he can do it. I guess he just didn't want to go out like that and was more comfortable getting his torch snuffed. So, gameplay, he's worse. Personality-wise, he's better. If you ask me. Because you gotta remember, this was the one person that I was disappointed by out of this cast. Sarah, a little biased, but I'll say that she improved because of self-awareness, even though it's more what she gave to us, rather than what she gained. But, yeah, goes to show, I think I just was a little, gender biased towards Sarah, Game Changers, and, the fact that Game Changers edit had problems. I think that season does merit a rewatch in my mind. We'll see. Michelle, I'll say that she improved, but it's a more on my viewing of her. Critique, that's a lot harder if you ask me, but I've said it before, I've said it again, so I won't say the statement again. You've heard me say it enough times. Natalie, she's the same Natalie, but she shouldn't have won this season, which she didn't, obviously, but nah, so get to the end, okay, you got there, fine. But win this, no, shouldn't have been her. And I do feel a little bit bad for her because she had no choice but to do this, okay? She had no choice. Yeah. And then Tony, this is the same Tony. He just, again, had it work, but it was different this time because he won challenges, was calmer at the beginning. You can argue that he was calm at the beginning. He wasn't. What he was doing with Sarah, LJ, a little bit of Kaz, And it's impressive that he got to the end without technically getting his name written down. Had this been a normal season, he would have gotten his name written down twice on day 38. So, based on how Survivor does work, he's a winner with 0 votes against him. I'll say that he got his name written down. Now, of course, by that logic, why am I not saying that Mike from David vs. Goliath only got his name written down once? Well, you got me there because it would have been, he would have gotten his name written down one more time or received a second vote, and it would have been a fire-making challenge between him and Kara. Anyway, I think she has the name that's like Supergirl's real name, so not the actor, the character, but okay, so there's that argument. Why don't you guys tell me if you think I'm wrong or not on that little issue? But, yeah, this is Tony. He just managed to make it work. Rob didn't manage to make it work, as an example. And then as to where this season ranks, so I haven't actually, as of when I'm recorded this, finished revealing to you all the differences in the ranking businesses because I'm still dozens of videos behind at this point. But I'll tell you this much. Even though I do have problems with the edit, I will argue that this season is better than Ron and the stuff that I've got below it, because not any real controversy about the winner. The social issues that came in here, it didn't affect the game that much, and I think that they're both just unfortunate coincidences. Wendell and Michelle's relationship, and then Sarah pointing out the gender bias, though part of that is because we've had a string of male winners lately, although to contrast this, I can tell you one reality show, cooking reality show, that's having the opposite situation happen. And for those of you who don't know, there's technically two big cooking reality shows, Top Chef and Hell's Kitchen. If you know anything about one of them, you'll be able to figure out which one I'm talking about. Okay. So yeah, it's better than that season, I'll tell you that much. Can I argue that this is better than Game Changers? In order to really answer that, I think I'd have to rewatch Game Changers. So that's a really tough one. But if it's better than Game Changers, it's better than Caramone. So I'll get back to you on that, because Game Changers is what this season should be compared to, not Caramone. So if I'm arguing that, then why am I not putting it above Caramone? Okay, well, there you go, Spanish Fly. This is better than Caramone, I'll tell you that right now. See you guys.